What is up, my dudes? Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Join the fantasy football dudes at Underdog Fantasy by entering promo code DUDES and get in on all the action. They will match you up to $1,000. Draft ball season is now. Smash pick'ems and use our promo code, again, DUDES, to match you up to $1,000. Sign up. Let's win some cash. Today's episode, we are doing our Forgive or Forget segment. We got a couple players that were drafted very high last season, and we're saying, are we going to forgive them or are we going to forget them? Each player on this list was ADP was above 12 at their position last season. Starting this show off, I am going to throw it over to my dudes. I am joined by Seth with the nice new lid, Phil, and Jordan. Seth, how are you liking the new hat, buddy?
I like it a lot. Thank you. They look good. You know, we're just out here supporting our sponsors.
Yeah,
so,
West
if you
Valley
didn't get a
Supply.
hat, I don't know what to say.
I guarantee Aaron gave Trent a hat to give to me, and he gave it to Seth.
We will never.
I don't know. It was on my desk when I got here when I got to work this morning. So it looked like it got handed to me last week.
Yeah,
that makes me sick.
Yeah, so me and Seth, we are twinning right now. Head over to YouTube at TFF Dudes. Give us a like, give us a sub. It is not Sadie's, I can promise you that. But it's an honest mistake. Seth's wearing blue. I'm wearing blue. Seth's wearing a West Valley Supply hat. I'm wearing a West Valley Supply hat. The only thing that is for certain is Phil is so jealous. You can see the red on his face. Check out the video on Spotify or YouTube. But let's jump into this Forgive and Forget. We got the Huddle coming up. Then we have our Mount Rushmore, which is our top least favorite things about sports, which probably should be hard to do, but I think we all have something that kind of, as Phil would say, grinds our gears when it comes to sports. And I'm just throwing all sports on the table here. So Phil, if you want to start us out with quarterbacks here, if you look at the list here, I have where they got drafted at their position. Next to them, in parentheses, I have where they're getting drafted at this season.
All right, Patrick Mahomes, Jordan, I know this one is going to hit close to home. He was number 3 quarterback off the board last year. He is projected to be number 6 quarterback off the board this year. What are you thinking about your boy Patrick Mahomes? I know that you are, I don't know. I think that's, maybe someone who you, maybe have a shrine of in your home. What do you think, Jordan? Are you thinking this year is a better year than last year, a better start to this year?
Let's not go that far. I don't have a shrine in my house, but
it's a poster.
I don't know.
Like how you guys are all dads, and there's unconditional love, right, for your kids. That can do no wrong. There's
He's
always
your father,
No, but
Daddy.
Yeah, there's the unconditional love for Patrick Mahomes. He can do no wrong. No,
that was actually good, Jordan.
I do think he'll have a better year this year. I don't know. It's tough because I thought last year he was going to have a really good year. That offense looked primed to go with like Hollywood, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and then guys got hurt, felt like left and right. So they should, in theory, they got Rice, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy coming back. It's just can they stay healthy on the field? If so, I think Mahomes has a good weapon, probably maybe his best collection of weapons he's ever had. I know that Tyreek was also awesome, Tyreek and Kelce in his prime, but that's definitely the deepest wide receiver core he has been with. So I want to think that it's a little bounce back. I don't know. Maybe he's just past his fantasy prime, not his real life prime, but like his fantasy prime. So a 3 last year, being drafted at 6 now. Maybe the 5-6 is kind of right, So I don't know. I think he bounces back a little bit from where he was last year, but I don't know if he'll ever be like that top 1 to 3 fantasy QB ever again.
What it's going to take, what it's going to take, in my opinion, is their defense is just so good. Yeah. Defense is so good, and the AFC West has to push them more, right?
And they want to run the ball, and they want to run the ball, and they're going to have Pacheco back, and shoot, they might even draft a running back. So, they signed Hunt. So they have Hunt, Pacheco. I can see them drafting somebody. So, they want to run the ball because their defense is good. And so it's like keep Mahomes on the field. And he doesn't take the deep balls like he used to either.
No, he doesn't.
Maybe that changes a little bit more this year with Worthy and Rice and Brown. maybe that opens up the field a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and like kind of what I was saying is I just think that defense being so good, I don't know if he feels the need to have to push the ball. Whereas when he was first in the league, he was pushing the ball, buying the time, stuff like that. He finished last season as QB 11. So didn't hurt you, but probably where you drafted him, you might not have been very happy unless, you had a league that kind of just waited on him. But he actually finished, Bo Nix was QB 7. Patrick Mahomes was QB 11. I'm curious to see if like Justin Herbert and Bo Nix, like being in that league, kind of up and coming with those two teams, if that puts him to a point where he has to score a little bit more points, like maybe the Chargers and the Broncos are good teams this year that can really play with him.
The issue is that both those teams also have good defenses though. And so that just kind of slows the game down and it limits the amount of scoring and I don't know.
Seth, come out here with some like ridiculous anti-Mahomes hate or like the only reason you like him is because of his brother or something. I don't know.
I think I'm going to go forget here. I'm not going to draft him. It's not worth my time. I'd rather take a different quarterback with more upside. I'll get burned by Mahomes, and if I get burned by him, it's probably by the team, where if they drafted him, I mean, I don't know if their team's going to be very good. Maybe if you do get him and he does good, you have a good team around him, and maybe that's a good flyer there. But I don't know. I don't see it really.
The high upside of having to reach
top 10 for sure. But I mean, top 5 anymore. I think I don't even know if that's possible for him.
Well, where would you draft him, Seth? If you're sitting there in the 8th round, he's the 9th QB off the board. Are you taking Patrick Mahomes?
I mean, if it's Bo Nix, I think I'd rather have Bo Nix.
Would you take Kyler Murray or Patrick Mahomes, Seth? And I might throw this as a poll out on X later this week. Murray or Patrick Mahomes fantasy football redraft.
I think I will say though, I agree with Jordan's point he made last year. There's something to be said about a quarterback who puts up consistent points. Sure, it's not the consistent points you always want. Like the 15, it kind of stinks, whereas like a Kyler Murray have like 30, and then the next week you could have an 8, But like Kyler or Patrick Mahomes constantly having 15 is kind of a big deal. But I think in redrafts, you draft for high upside, and I don't know. I think if you had to do Kyler Murray or him, I think I would still lean Patrick Mahomes. Just I don't ever trust Kyler Murray, and Patrick Mahomes has proved that he can be obviously elite level.
Well, I think the problem with what I was saying last year is I think I was right. But the issue was and I think, Trent, this is kind of what you were alluding to a lot of the time, is where you drafted him, it wasn't good enough, right? So, where I drafted Pat, I was happy. It's nice to get that solid, that 15. You can count on that 15 plus, that 15 to 20 every week. Now, if I had drafted Patrick Mahomes in the 8th round, then that's great, right? But when you're drafting him in the 3rd or 4th round, it becomes less great. Now, you go back and look at that 3rd round, and I think that was a dead zone in a lot of drafts anyways, because people were drafting LaPorta and Kincaid in that round too. So, it ended up looking back, I don't know. But, if you can get that 15 from Mahomes, but it just depends where you draft him. If you draft him in the 6th to 8th round, I think he's great, to be honest. I think if he's going to go higher than that, I think I think you might be reaching on him for what he is at this point.
So the only QBs that averaged over 20 fantasy points per game last year were Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Baker Mayfield, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, in that order right there on average.
Well, I mean, 5 of those guys are your top 5 QBs, right? That's going to be drafted. So,
yeah, Baker was the steal of the draft last year. I had him in a league. He went undrafted, finished as QB4. So Baker Mayfield, 22.5 fantasy points per game. He had.
Are you taking Baker or Mahomes?
Man, with the weapons Baker has and how there's holes in that defense, Jordan, I think I would rather take Baker. And looking at Baker's, I can pull it up here right now, but on Underdog right now, Baker is going as, let me see here right now, QB, pull it up. Baker is going as QB7. Patrick Mahomes is going as QB6. So, like we said, so one QB spot behind Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes' ADP is 79.8. Baker Mayfield is 88.1. So, going a little bit behind him, but I think you can get maybe another good receiver right there in that pick rather than going Patrick Mahomes and wait for Baker later. You could maybe stack Baker with, you might be able to go Godwin Baker right there, with each other. I'm not sure. So I'm always, probably too high on Baker every year, but I think with, he's kind of has that home there in Tampa Bay. I'm going forget. Seth's going forget. What are you saying, Jordan? I don't want to break your heart. If you want to just give the thumbs down and not say anything. Forgive.
It's always forgive.
Always forgive.
Always.
Okay,
You had that whole spiel at the beginning. How did you miss that?
I don't know. I just wanted to give him a second chance.
You want to give him a second chance? That's all right. All right. Well, I think this is where Trent, the tides kind of turn here on you a little bit, Jordan. Like, we're giving you a little bit of garbage for your Mahomes, then we got to give Trent a little bit of garbage for Dak Prescott. Like, I know he also has a shrine of Dak. He contemplated naming his first son Dak, which we all thankfully convinced him out of. So is that your son's middle name?
Instead, he named him after someone who's actually washed. Sorry.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah. All right, Trent. What are we thinking about Dak Prescott? Like, are you willing to forgive, or are you forgetting about him? Like, where's your and you need to answer in both two ways, right? You need to answer both as a fantasy athlete and also as a friend to your Cowboys nation. So give us both. I know one's going to be a little bit more heartfelt potentially.
So follow me on X. I said, I saw the video of Dak working out. Like, I've been so down on him, and I'm just like, this is our year, guys. I'm ready. Like, Phil, what would you want us to think of you if you just came in, in 6 months, 30 pounds lighter? Would you think we would be like, hey, Phil, you're probably sick? Or do you know what I'm saying? Like, Dak comes in, he's 30 pounds less, best shape of his life. Looks pretty good. I think the spot he's going in here, just, going to be thrown at the CeeDee Lamb every single play. They haven't done anything to fix that. I'm kind of concerned about the offensive line, but I think it's going to be, shootouts for Dak right there. And I think I'm going to forgive an injury. You have to forgive an injury, right, Phil? But 30 pounds lighter, he looks really good on X. Anyone see the workout video? Yes or no? Phil,
he did look slim. I'll notice he had a slim face.
Okay, so Phil, he weighed last season at his injury, he weighed 238. Right now he's 205. So is that good for him? Is that bad? Maybe we're getting mobile Dak, but I think coming off the ACL injury, I'm going to say probably not mobile. But watching this, him playing against air, I think I got to forgive. So and where he's going in drafts.
Where he's going, we're in drafts, right? And for your
QB 17, like, come on, that's perfect.
Yeah, you're feeling pretty good about a stash, right? You'll have him, you'll stash him away there just in case you need a second QB on some weeks. What about? And so you feel good about him overall, both as a fantasy guy and as a friend to the Cowboys.
17, would it shock you if he finished top 12 QBs this season? It would not shock me. I think QB 17, you compare him with CeeDee Lamb. I don't hate it. Is he going to be a top 5 fantasy quarterback? Probably not. Can he break the top 12? I think he can. So okay. I'm going forgive right here.
I think Trent, he's more of a best ball secondary stack quarterback, than he is like a redraft 1 QB league target. Okay. Like, I think he's like, if you're in a super flex, I think he's a good late target there. And then I think if you are in if you're playing best ball and you take CD early in the first round, I think Dak's a great quarterback to have to pair with CD as like your secondary QB wide receiver stack down the road. So
almost a lock if you get CD that I think you'll get Dak. I don't think anyone's going to draft him that doesn't get CD. And even in redraft, I don't.
There's always those.
There's always a crazy Cowboys fan. That's fair. Seth, what are you thinking? You buying the down 30 pounds hype or no?
No. Doesn't make you throw the ball any better.
Maybe maybe it's a little nicer on his knees though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this could be. I don't think he's on Ozempic.
Was
like
his knee or the
Kyler
hamstring the problem last year? I don't know. Like, I don't know. I feel like
aging.
I don't feel like throwing the ball doesn't. I don't know if that changes throwing the ball. You know, when I see Cowboys post saying that, he's got Lamar level athleticism now, it's just like,
No,
that's
that is
embarrassing.
a troll account, Seth, that you should not be following. The guy who said that he has Lamar Jackson.
I'm not
type
following it.
athleticism.
I mean, it's just like the number article on the internet.
You just have it on alerts. No, that guy's great. He's a Cowboys.
But which
fan.
one? Ernie the Cowboys fan?
Ernie the Cowboys fan. Yes, he is. He is wild out there. He is He's continually tweets how Dak has a better record against the Eagles than Jalen Hurts does versus the Cowboys, and he is making some nice dough on X by continually propping Dak up. What?
Someone quote tweeted him saying, "For Dak Prescott's sake, I'd advise he not attempt anything Lamar Jackson does on a football field."
Yeah, that's probably fair. Yeah.
And we gotta cheer for him. He's buddies with the Dude Perfect guys, which they're friends adjacent with us to some extent.
Phil acts like that's like our sister pod or something, but maybe like we're not ruling it out. We have the same
cousin pod.
Yeah, similar names in there, but so I went forgive, Jordan went forgive, and Seth is just a grudge holder.
Hold on. In a redraft standard league, I'm a forget, but in a like best ball formats, there's some merit towards taking them late.
Okay. So you're fine with the QB 17. You think that's a good spot for him?
I think that's the right spot.
Okay,
maybe a little higher, but I'm not inside the top 15.
Who would you rather have, Jordan? Brock Purdy or Dak Prescott?
Brock Purdy.
Dak Prescott or Geno Smith?
Dak Prescott.
Jordan Love or Dak Prescott?
J Love.
Yeah. CJ Stroud. Well, I guess he's next, right? Is he next on the list?
CJ Stroud.
Yeah, CJ Stroud is next on the list. What a great segue there, Trent. CJ Stroud, great. This guy could have probably been on maybe we didn't do a sophomore. I don't know what I'm talking about here. Let's just skip that whole part. Go and delete it. CJ Stroud. I'm going to let Seth take the floor here. I feel like Seth is a big CJ Stroud guy. Seth, what are we thinking here with CJ Stroud?
I like CJ Stroud. I don't know if that was I'm hoping that's just not like a 1 year, wonder sort of thing. He did have to deal with a lot of different injuries. I think their offensive line, hopefully he's going to be better this year. I think I would be willing to forgive him on this one just because he's young and we have seen that he can be good. So I think it's worth one more go around for me.
I'm kind of with Seth where, he's young, so young that I got to go with forgive here. I need to see one more year. I don't know if I'm going to be drafting him. Kind of wild that he's going QB 18. Dak Prescott's going QB 17. They lost their left tackle. They lost Stephon Diggs. They don't have Tank Dell. They do have Nico Collins. So I don't think I will be drafting him, but this is kind of like a pump the brakes and see. So I'm going to go forget here because I'm not going to be targeting him. I don't think I'll have one team with CJ Stroud other than the Dynasty Superflex team I already have him in. I will not draft CJ Stroud. I don't think anywhere unless they do something drastic, trade wise or in the draft that I really like. At the moment though, I have to say forget. Jordan, is that kind of where you're at or no?
I actually think I'm more on the forgive side. I think, he obviously is talented. He had a good rookie year. I tend to think there's a little bit of a bounce back. I don't know if his where he'll settle is as good as he was his rookie year, but I tend to think that he's not as bad as he was last year either. So I think I lean more on the forgive side. I think I'd put him somewhere between that 12 and 14 range. I think again, he's another guy, Trent, that kind of falls in that category of like probably a lot better best ball target than as like a secondary stack than as like in a redraft league. Because I think you can target if you're taking Nico Collins in the back first, early second. That's a great quarterback to pair with. And then like you could have Christian Kirk. I don't know where he'll end up going, but John Mechie, you know, if Tank Dell's not playing. So I think there's like, and honestly, like you could, these two quarterbacks we just talked about, like, where's Nico Collins going, Trent? You look at this stuff more than I do at this point. Where's Nico Collins going?
Nico Collins, I'll pull him up right now. Wide receivers.
Is he going like?
I think it's pretty nice where he's going. Wide receiver 5. So he's still, you know.
So like overall, that's what? That's back first probably.
8.9. Receivers going ahead of him are Puka Nacua, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase. He is going ahead of Malik Neighbors and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah. So I don't know. I was just gonna say, like, I think both those like quarterbacks are nice. I think in best ball targets if we're gonna go that late. I just think in redraft, I don't know if you need to get there. You know, I'm always in a 12-teamer. I think CJ Stroud's draftable in a 12-teamer.
What are you? Anyone on here taking Amon-Ra St. Brown after Nico Collins?
No.
So
he's so much more reliable than Nico Collins.
Yeah, and he, like, you've said this before, Jordan, the guy just guts it out. You know, it's like he's basically like the version of me when it comes to like dental hygiene. Like, I have had my crown fall out twice the last 2 weeks. And have I missed a meal? No, I just absolutely powered through. You know, like that's kind of
even better for you if you did miss the meal. You know,
maybe, but I was built different, Jordan, to where I was just like I wanted to not eat, but I was like, no, I like can't like quit. You know what I'm saying? So like only receivers.
You're built different, all right. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but
no, it's just toughen it out. Only wide receivers to put up 1,000 yards while also under 20% of their team's total targets. Does anyone want to guess these 3 guys? Just off the cuff.
Nico Collins.
Say it again.
Okay. Nico Collins is 1. So there's only 3 wide receivers this year, and I'm quoting PPR fantasy tips on X. Only 3 wide receivers to put up 1,000 receiving yards while also receiving under 20% of their team's total targets.
Lad McConkey.
Nope.
No. Was Brian Thomas one?
He's not.
Was Mike Evans one?
Mike Evans and Jameson are the other 2.
Yeah.
So Mike Evans got 19.5% of his team's targets. He had 1,004 yards. Jameson Williams had 17.4% of his team's targets. He got 1,001 yards. Nico Collins, 18% of his team's targets with 1,006 yards. So those guys,
so is it so all 3? Here's the problem with that stat. I think it's a little bit flawed. It's not a per game. It's not percent per game target share, right? It's
those guys missed time.
Target share.
They missed Evans was injured.
That's why correct. All 3 of them. Nico Collins, Mike Evans, and Jameson all missed at least 4 to 6 games. So like that's the pro. That's a flawed stat. But I'd be more interested in guys who put up without like 800 plus or 1,000 yards and had less than 20% target share per game. I think that's more. Those are your boom bust guys. I think more than anything, but.
Well, Jameson Williams, I think, is one of those guys. He's the only guy on there that I feel like if he played every game, I don't know how much more his target share would go. He's the only one. But Mike Evans, like, I think his target share would be way higher. Nico Collins would be way higher as well.
Yeah, because when those guys played, you know, they.
Yeah. All right. So remember, this is all best ball rankings. Head over to Underdog Fantasy, enter promo code DUDES, match up to $1,000, guys. Really fun doing that. Phil, let's hand this off to running backs. What?
Yeah, well, I was wondering because we're keeping these pods a little bit short. Do you want to go tight ends for this one, and then next week do running backs and wide receivers?
Maybe we'll skim through the tight ends. I think it'll go faster here. And I also think we probably need to start previewing some of the rookie stuff because the draft is right around the corner. It is draft month.
Yeah,
this is coming out on April Fool's Day.
Let's just like go hyperspeed through this.
Sorry, is this
Okay.
draft? Is this draft month, Jordan? Am I wrong here?
No, tomorrow's draft month.
Yeah, April
Well,
though.
the
Yeah,
draft
April
is in
24th.
April.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
tomorrow will be
Yeah.
April. Yeah.
By the
there
time
we
this
go.
comes out, it'll
April
be draft
Fools,
month.
Jordan.
Yeah. Running backs. though.
Yeah.
Let's blitz through running backs.
Football.
All right.
April Fools.
Travis I don't even know what Seth said. Travis Etienne.
Forget.
I think I have to.
Forget.
You have ETN, Tank, and there's rumors flying around that Genty's in play for the Jaguars. So, like,
I think Genty's going to be a Raider.
Well, the Jaguars have the 5th pick, and the Raiders have the 6th pick.
Yeah, so they'd have to ship off him. I don't know. I part of me just has that thing.
I don't think they do.
Yeah.
I don't think they do. But again, we have a new regime. ETN was Doug Peterson's guy. Tank Bigsby was Doug Peterson's guy. So
No.
So we have new
No, Etienne is Urban Meyer's guy. Right?
fair point. And I don't think they get Trevor Lawrence and ETN are so close that I don't see it.
Yeah,
but,
college teammates, that's why I think I don't know. I don't
Yeah. But anyways, long story short, there's just I think you forget.
Running back 32 right now. Forget's the easy thing to say. I think I'll go with forget. At running back 32, I don't mind throwing a couple, flyers on a guy like that though, and maybe does something.
Yeah, I mean it's running back, so he's gonna get. You're gonna if the price is right, you'll draft him. But I don't know.
And he was running back 2 in 2023.
He was up there.
Yeah.
I think he was running back 2, I think, in 2023.
Yeah. The PPR potential's there, but potential's a scary word.
Yeah. Also,
Liam Cohen
his last name real quick?
throws to the running backs a ton. So
yeah, and he's coming. Liam Cohen's coming from a running back by a committee, Jordan. With Bucky. And
yeah,
Rashad.
but they also threw the ball to running backs a ton.
I'm going to say forgive, but if they draft a running back, in the first 2 rounds, I'll say forget. At the moment, I'll say forgive, though. It's Easter.
How do you say his last name, Trent?
Travis Etienne.
Okay. Jonathan Taylor. Seth, we're starting with you. Jonathan Taylor.
JT.
Shooting from the hip here. What do you think about, Johnny T?
Justin Timberlake.
Man, if Daniel Jones is the quarterback, I like it. But if Richardson's the quarterback, I don't like it. So that one's hard for me to figure out. So I think I'm going to stay away and just go forget.
RB8 still seems a little rich for me. And, they lost two starting offensive linemen, so I'm going to say forget. And I've always liked this Colts offensive line.
I lean forget.
Forget. Okay. All right. Going back to the Chiefs, we'll start with you, Jordan. Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco last year ended at 10, right now 31. Go ahead.
Forget.
Yeah, drafted at 10.
Okay. Drafted at 10. Yeah, this year going at 31.
You think they bring someone in, Jordan, or you're just Kareem Hunt?
I think it's Hunt, Pacheco, and maybe probably bring somebody in. I don't know. And he obviously wasn't healthy towards the end of last year, or when he came back, he wasn't healthy. So, but signed Elijah Mitchell. I'm looking at that right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
So,
I'm gonna go forget here. I just don't want to touch it.
All right, here. What do we got here with CMC? Jordan, what do you think here? Actually, I'm going to go with Trent. Earlier in the pod, he said that you have to forgive and forget. You actually have to forgive when he was talking about Dak. But I feel like Trent always holds injuries over CMC's head. Would you agree with that, Jordan? Like he always is like he'll throw him, he'll put him down week to week if CMC gets injured. But Dak gets injured and Trent's willing to forget. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, because usually you can see Dak's bone pointing the wrong way. CMC, it's like hamstring injuries that no one knows if they're actually.
Dak just had a hamstring injury.
Yeah, no, but his hamstring was like completely like separated. Achilles and hamstring, I think, is different here.
Wait, what?
What did CMC have just now? Achilles?
Tendinitis means like if you play football with tendinitis, they're gonna explode.
Yeah. Do you know how tendons work, Trent?
What I'm saying is normally when I'm hating on CMC, it's because it's like hamstring stuff like that. That's just like sit to take time off. Dak like had surgery, and now CMC has an Achilles injury, is what I would say.
You literally had to walk to first base because you had with a baseball bat as a cane when you had plantar fasciitis, and this guy has tendinitis. And you said you used a baseball bat to support you running to first base.
I wanted to.
And yet you have this guy who's in tip-top shape, who's out of a football game, and you're ridiculing him. That makes me sick.
Yeah, because he probably shouldn't be playing the football game.
All right. Well, so what do you...
All right, what's your answer? Forgive or forget?
So there was a rumor yesterday by Sports Illustrated that the Dallas Cowboys might be trading for CMC. Like that's a potential.
Can you give an answer? Can you give an answer?
At the moment is forget.
That was a dream. That was a dream of yours.
No, I seriously saw it looking up. I seriously saw it looking it up. CMC to the Dallas Cowboys potential trade destination. I'm like,
that would make him a forgive? Why?
Potential. Yeah, just because for the cause, right?
Yeah. All right.
That would be cool if he goes to the Cowboys and it's just a bust. He just has tendinitis.
Sounds about right. If Dallas trades for him, he's like on the mend. Like, the 49ers aren't going to give us a good deal. But yeah, yesterday, March 30th, Dallas Cowboys named an NFL-altering trade idea for 4-time All-Pro. The Dallas Cowboys were floated as a potential landing spot for one of the top players in the NFL. It's CMC.
And they're just going to do a 1-to-1 CD for CMC, guaranteed.
That's like something that I expected Ernie, the Cowboys fan, to be tweeting, not Sports Illustrated.
This is such a Phil move by Trent. We have 3 for every position, and Trent added a 4th running back in CMC just to talk about this trade to the Cowboys. This was such a Phil move by Trent.
It's forget right
Trent,
now.
There was no need to add an extra running back in CMC. Like, this
classic
kind of respect
Phil move.
Your ingenuity, but like classic Phil move.
This is a forget, but if he gets traded to a team I really like, then I think I have to forgive him, man. Just for my own mental health. We talked about fantasy players, mental health last week.
Trent reminded Phil like 3 times before pre-show, hey, make sure I have CMC on there.
Yeah, he did.
CMC. Gosh.
If Seth agrees to that, then I believe you, but I doubt Seth believes that.
I believe it.
Yeah. Complete, yeah. Anyways.
Seth just sits on the pod smirking like he found a Snicker bar in his pocket. Like, you never know what this guy's going to say.
Honestly,
like,
that would be so clutch if I found one.
Yeah.
It'd be so clutch. It's definitely true that Trent did do that just so you could talk about the Cowboys again.
It's been a slow offseason. You guys want to talk about the Dak Prescott contract? No, I'm just kidding.
Seth, what do you think about CMC? Are you willing to get hurt again, or what's up?
I think the 49ers have less weapons, so they rely more on CMC, so that equals more points. I think I'd be willing to get hurt again.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably forgiving him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whether he's on the Cowboys or not, or just right now.
Whether he's on the Cowboys or not.
Okay.
I think he's good on whatever team he goes
Let's ride, Jordan. Let's ride, brother.
All right. Can we get through these wide receivers?
You guys are, all right. AJ Brown, Jordan.
Forgive.
Okay,
for sure.
Seth. Okay.
I think I need to know, are they going to ban the Tush Push? Because they're voting on this on April Fool's Day. By the time you listen to this pod,
does it do with anything?
If the Tush Push is banned, AJ Brown might get more jump balls.
Okay.
Yes or no?
They also have Saquon
No, I think
Barkley,
it
who I
helps
feel like
them,
they
but
could
like,
just
I don't.
they
Yeah,
could just hand
They
it
have
off.
hand the
Saquon
ball
Barkley
off to
and
Saquon.
Jalen Hurts.
I don't
All right.
know.
Hey, here's a
I
little
don't know if you
trivia
know
for
this.
you.
They have a power running back who they could just hand the ball off to at the half-yard line.
Trivia
Trent.
question time. Who has more rushing touchdowns in their career, Jalen Hurts or Christian McCaffrey?
Probably
Jalen Hurts.
Is it Jalen Hurts? Really?
Rushing
Jalen
TD.
Hurts
Yeah,
has more
Jalen
rushing touchdowns than Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, fun fact. All right.
Cool.
Yeah. I like his ADP. I think it's nice at wide
So
receiver 10. I'm going for Gibb.
Dak Prescott
Trent's like, hey,
starts
I want to
tush
answer.
pushing.
Yeah, I want to answer the question after I find out if they ban the tush push or not. Why'd you even
I'm
bring that
surprised
up,
the
dude? We don't know.
surprised the
Yeah.
answer. I'm surprised the answer to that question from Trent wasn't like Zeke or something. You know?
Yeah, it honestly makes me so mad when people bring stuff like that. Well, you never know. They may ban the tush push. It's like, well, we're talking about it today. Current state, what do you think, buddy? Like
Yeah.
those types of people infuriate me so much, Trent. Like I would quit the pod over you making another mistake like that on this podcast. All right.
Well, you know.
Do you know what I'm saying though, Jordan? Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
What's
well,
the next
actually,
wide
they're
receiver?
voting on it tomorrow. It's like, hey man, you put him in there. We're talking about it today. Tell us what you think. Tyreek Hill.
Well, we
Yeah.
might not get to that spot later in the pod. So I thought we should bring up the tush push. I actually have a list of things the NFL needs to get rid of before the tush push. We will go over that later.
Okay, Tyreek Hill.
Forgive.
Trent, what do you
Forgive.
Seth?
Yeah, let's forgive.
Okay. Debo Samuel, Seth. After he punched that long snapper, I feel like you and I are aligned. You got to forget him, right? Once you punch a teammate, regardless of how good you are, you got to forget him. Like you can't have that type of vibe on your roster as a fantasy manager.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, does he understand he's not going to be the number one at the Commanders? Does he understand that?
Yes.
We could ask him. Hey,
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
he punched a guy. He
let's
punched
shoot
a
a
guy,
tweet.
Seth.
I'm going to shoot a tweet out tomorrow. Hey, bro, you know you're not wide receiver 1 there, right? Just see what he says.
honestly, that would make my day. That'd be
I'll
great.
do it.
You could see his pathetic reaction, and then I can give my take.
Yeah,
But
I wonder what
honestly,
emoji he'd send.
man, I think I'm going to forget here. I don't want to touch it yet.
Okay.
I'll go forgive, and I'm gonna add Debo Samuel will finish higher than Keon Coleman.
Oh,
Wow, that is
okay.
a hot take. That is so hot right there. One of the higher paid guys.
I don't
in
know
the
about
NFL.
that. I don't know. That doesn't seem that hot.
Well, Trent, here's the thing. You said Keon Coleman would be a top 25 receiver. So if you think that that's not a hot take, then you better be freaking forgiving the crap out of Debo Samuel.
Forgiving the I don't know.
Yeah.
Debo, but here's the difference. Well, what's the ADP on Keon Coleman? Do you really want to go over this again, Jordan?
Absolutely.
No,
here's the thing.
Just say, do you forgive?
Here's what I will say.
I think
Debo Samuel's going as wide receiver 34 right now. I think he could go later, right? Because normally, where we draft, for me and you draft, Jordan, we have a lot of 49er people in our drafts being here on the West Coast. I feel like he maybe gets sniped and moves up more. So he might not move up that much more. That probably is a good spot there, Jordan. So I will go with forgive with you. Wide receiver 34, that's a good spot. Going off a trade, Jaden Daniels. I've already said he's probably going to eat into Terry McLaurin's, because how many TDs did Terry McLaurin have last year? Like 14? How many of those does Debo Samuel take away? Because, who is the other wide receiver besides Terry McLaurin? Like, something's got to give over there. And
yeah.
All right.
And I'm all for punching teammates if they deserve it. So, I'm not saying this was the right situation, but there's a couple guys on this pod I'd like to punch. 3 of them in particular.
Cool. All right.
Why don't you just
Thanks,
go
man.
around and just give yourself a knuckle sandwich? How about that?
Yeah.
Tight ends, Phil.
Dude, you literally used a bat as a cane to run down to first base. You should probably
Phil, you cry every night you go to sleep because you have plantar fasciitis. Don't even act like you would. You didn't even play slow pitch
Didn't say you
softball last
cry,
year because of your
Phil.
plantar fasciitis. I gutted out a season and won the Natty. So What's your point?
Yeah,
That's true.
shut up.
Seth was on my
That's true.
team. We won the league, Phil.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's true.
I'd love to know what
Destroyed that
league that
league,
was,
actually.
honestly. I'd love to
Yeah.
know what league that was.
Yeah, there was tryouts and you wouldn't have made it. So that's all that matters.
Mhm.
Yeah, you made it using a cane as a bat because you had.
Yeah, they only
You
allow
try
one
every
player
night
per
before
team
you
with
go to
planter.
sleep, Phil, because you're a planter. I don't want to hear it.
All right, moving on to tight ends. My planner is bad, by the way. Planner. Sam LaPorta.
Forget.
I don't want to spend that draft capital on an offense that has that many mouths to feed. You're going forgive, Jordan?
Forget.
I forget? Okay.
Forget. And Seth, you said forget as well, right?
Yes, I did. I don't staying away. He burned me bad this year.
Okay. All right, moving on to the second tight end, Travis Kelce.
Forget.
Seth has a lot of Swifties in his leagues, so he'll probably go way higher than what he would in a normal league. Tight end 9, it's worth it.
You think it's worth it? Yeah.
He's washed, but
washed.
tight end 9, he'll probably still be a top 10 tight end. The guy who probably reached on him last year is not going to take him. I'm just thinking stuff like that. Tight end 9, yeah, I'll forgive him.
Okay.
I think he's more of a best ball target if you want to stack with Mahomes than anything else.
Nice. All right, moving on here. The next guy is Dalton Kincaid.
Forget because Trent's boy Keon Coleman is
forgive.
rising through the.
I'm going forgive here.
Trent says the Bills offense, top 25 receiver Keon Coleman, top 30 wide receiver Khalil Shakir, top 35 receiver Josh Palmer, and top 3 tight end Dalton Kincaid. Josh Allen, number 1 quarterback in the league.
Potentially,
firing
yes.
all cylinders.
Josh Allen did not have his best fantasy season of his career last year, so he can do better. Kincaid played on a bum knee the whole season, dropped that pass. Revenge tour, Dalton Kincaid, tight end 14. I feel like it's a nice spot to punt at the tight end position. If it doesn't work out, go to the waiver wire.
Okay.
To be honest, did I say forget or forgive?
You said forget.
I kind of agree with you, actually, forgive.
At 14, it's a good spot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, Jordan understands because there's injuries and draft capital involved, Phil.
All right. Well, that wraps up our forgive and forget. Trent, that was a good segment. I got to get clapped up for you on that one. Like, you brought in some good conversation, brought in some laughs. I appreciate that. I think we're going to jump into the huddle. Is that what's next here for us, pal?
The huddle, we're talking about the Tush Push. We brought that up. I just put this out on X. There's just things that I would like the NFL to get rid of before the Tush Push. And I doubt any of you saw this because you guys probably all have me muted, which is fine. But so things the NFL should ban before the Tush Push. I have turf. It's an injury magnet. Don't like it. Don't tell me you care about player safety and then still have turf fields. The New York Jets, just because. Dynamic kickoff. Bring back the real kickoff. Thursday night football, let's let the players recover. If you want to have Thursday night football, let's have it after a bye week, something like that. I care about player safety, guys. And then TV timeouts after kickoffs. We don't need a TV timeout after the kickoff and after the extra point. I would rather us fix these issues that are more important than banning the Tush Push. That's all I have to say there. Not sure if there's anything you guys agree with there or disagree with, but those are the things I'd rather.
I like dynamic kickoff.
You like it?
Kickoff is fine. I think it's fine.
You don't like pre-2008 kickoff? You were
but
too
we're never
young.
going to get that back. So why does it matter?
So just quit. Point? Just quit.
No, just keep it. What's the difference between what we had last year and what we had dynamic kickoff? It's the same exact thing.
There had to been way more returns than there was in dynamic kickoff. Dynamic kickoff is so terrible. I guess when the guys actually return it, it's pretty good, but that's more of the kickers kicking it, to where they can return it. I will vote for liking dynamic kickoff if you say you can't kick it in the end zone. If you kick it in the end zone, they get it at like the 50-yard line. Do something crazy like that.
I think that's a good rule change.
Yeah, but they don't want the contact, so that won't happen. But I think there needs to be a bigger penalty for the touchback to encourage returns. So that's my take. And I don't know if I want to do the 4th and 15 and no onside kicks, Jordan. I think you should be able to onside kick whenever you want. I don't like that you have
America,
to say
baby.
when to do it. So
well, I live in a realistic world, Trent, and it's never going to happen. So
not with that attitude. Just takes one viral click, Jordan, and maybe you change the world. What else we got here, Huddle wise? Phil, anything you want to talk about? You sent something about snack bars, concessions. I don't, you were all.
Oh, I was gonna use it. I was gonna use that in the things that I hated most about sports. I was gonna say snack prices. So I don't know.
Okay.
I could. So that was one of the things that I was gonna say in terms of things that I hated.
We'll put a pin in that. Seth's all raving about torpedo bats. It's all he wants to talk about. So I'm sure he's tried to order 3 of them so that he can replace his Funko bat that he uses for pop flies right now.
It's a Fungo bat, not a Funko Pat. You're thinking about a Funko Pop. And also, this guy comes up to me and he goes, "Man, you see," he's like, "You see that thing I said about Aaron Judge hitting the home runs? Wasn't that so funny?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, that new bat's been really helping him out." And I'm like, "Trent, he's not using the new bat." And he's like, "Oh, really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he's not using the new bat."
Yeah.
So,
since I sent a meme account that
this guy just totally just making stuff up, saying I bought these torpedo bat. I ain't buying a big league bat. I don't need a big league bat. I don't want
wouldn't
one.
hurt.
I mean, you're right. It wouldn't hurt. It'd just be sitting on my wall. It'd hurt my wallet.
I don't know. I think you should get a torpedo bat just for content. Film some BP for us. I think
you should get a torpedo bat, put it to your thing and spin around 10 times and run out in the street.
Yeah. I think I'll take it and just use it as a club. So why don't you come over here? Hey, Seth, what's it going to take for you to throw us all some BP? Phil, is that a good idea?
Seth throwing us BP?
The second you guys can stand the box and when your gout allows you to stand still and swing.
Phil, I think we need BP, Phil. Seth has a key to the pitching machine. We should go take BP.
So him throwing BP or him putting the machine on? Those are 2 different things.
Either way. I'm fine with either.
What he means.
Yeah,
the batting cage. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah. The fence isn't nearly far enough for me, so just put me in the cage. Okay.
I think though, here's what I'll say about those bats. If it's like a new thing, I think it's kind of cool. I think they look stupid, but I think that they look cool. You know what I'm saying? It's just
they look stupid, but they look cool.
Sorry.
That's why whenever you tell me I like your hat, I don't believe you.
They look stupid, but it would be cool if that is actually helping people get more power. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's like Trent and Crocs, right? He looks ridiculous, but if they're comfortable for him, I'm happy for him. You know what I'm saying?
I'll just say
those are the types of things.
Yeah, or Phil, who has plantar but doesn't do anything about his shoes. He's wearing flip-flops from 2004. Seth?
Dollar store.
Old Navy.
Ross. Okay, Seth, go. What were you gonna say?
The swap meet. I will
those
say
are chanclas.
About
okay,
the
go.
torpedo bat is I think it's just like a normal bat. I think it comes down to how a player feels when he's using it and what he likes to swing it because it's more balanced bat. It's just basically a more balanced bat. Just the barrel shape happens to be different than, a end-loaded bat, traditional end-loaded bat. So, I mean, if you look at any of these other balanced bats, it's the same sort of thing. It's just the barrel is moved closer to the hands, which means if these guys switch to a traditional barrel, they'd be hitting in a different spot and the bat would also feel different, but you could get used to an old style bat, whatever, or original style bat if you just used it enough. It's not like
Phil. All these MLB guys haven't used normal bats enough. That's why they're using the torpedo one.
Well, I hope someone skipped through that last segment there.
Mount Rush. Let's hop into the Mount. Phil, that's jacked up. You ask his opinion, and then you just bash him like that. You know what? Take that.
I was talking about
you,
you, Trent. I was talking about you. I do think it's hilarious, though. Seth, here's what I'll say, though. I do think it's hilarious because Trent was certain that Aaron Judge was using one of those torpedo bats.
It was. You should have saw the look on his face. It was all you saw was the white in his eyes.
Yeah, he was just shook.
Like,
I sent that.
He regurgitated some of the ketchup he had from lunch.
Yeah. No, speaking of lunch, guess what Seth did today? You know how we always have our protein blender situation? Guy doesn't even clean out the protein deal, Phil. You think that's gross to go use a blender?
To not clean it.
You go use a protein thing? Yeah, you could still say yes and like show some courtesy. Like, come on, man. Like
you said, don't clean it. I'm gonna use it.
Oh yeah. No, I agree with you, Seth. And also, like, if someone
don't clean it, I'm gonna use that one. I'm like, okay,
that's a lie.
Yeah, if a loved one, who you think is, relatively disease free, uses a protein shake in front of you, like, it's totally fine for them to, use it after them. I don't know.
Definitely wasn't thinking about diseases. That's an issue. All right. Let's jump into the Mount Rushmore here, guys. Today's Mount Rushmore is brought to you by our friends over at Trophy Smack. Head over to trophysmack.com/dudes. 15% off your whole entire order. Talk about Mount Rushmores. They also have busts of Patrick Mahomes. Pretty sure some guys on this pod have really eyed those for a while. Head over to Trophy Smack. Customize your first place trophy, your participation ribbons, last place awards, whatever. They got it. You can get different toppers for every single year, for every occasion. Maybe you are getting married. You want to bring your fantasy football trophy to the wedding. You can put a bride and groom on that thing. Whatever you want to do, Trophy Smack has a lot of endless possibilities. Head over to trophysmack.com/dudes. Mount Rushmore of the top 4 worst things we hate about sports. Jordan, I'm sure you got a couple of these. Phil, you already let in with.
Wait, can I say one thing though, real quick? I'm pretty sure the A's stadium is not going to be a covered stadium, like in Vegas. It's really not. It's going to be, and I'm like, that's kind of crazy because baseball is played during the hottest times of years. Can someone look that up? And Jordan, can you pull that up? I'm pretty sure it's not for sure. A's stadium in Vegas is not going to be. Maybe it'll be retractable, but I think it's going to be open. Yeah, I don't think it's planned to be retractable. I think it's going to be an open roof to some extent, which to me just sounds crazy, right?
Includes a non-retractable roof.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's insane.
No, wait.
But I don't think it's enclosed.
But
it's
designed to limit.
No, non-retractable means it can't open.
That means it's closed. Like your car has a non-retractable.
No.
Okay. It's kind of a weird. It's a fixed roof. So it is going to be a roof. So it can't open. But it's going to be closed. But it's inspired by baseball pennants designed to limit direct sunlight and heat while allowing natural light in. You just got to Google it. It's a weird field.
It's non-retractable.
So basically, it's going to be open. It's going to be open on the ends. But there's going to have
like the Rams stadium.
So it's gonna have like something over the top like this. But when you look out in the outfield, you'll see the normal sky. So basically it's going to have like a shade structure over the top of it is almost what it's going to be.
That sounds like a pizza oven.
Phil, let me explain this to you, Phil. Your house has a non-retractable roof on it.
Yeah, but the sides are not open. I don't know if you know this. Like that would be like me keeping my windows open.
Phil wouldn't know because he wasn't there.
Yeah, because I didn't get invited.
You could, but it'll have AC, cranking in that puppy for sure.
Maybe. I don't know.
Phil,
I just brought in a little conversation.
No, it's not bad. Give me your Mount Rushmore of things you hate about sports, Phil.
One of mine is going to be absolutely stupid, but I will say one of the first ones is the food, the pricing of the food. And there was a recent article, all conference games, what is it? Central Carolina, Coastal Carolina, Coastal Carolina, all of their conference games, the snack bar is going to be free. Now, I'm sure that they're going to jack the prices up on the tickets, right? I think that's absolutely going to happen.
I think that's fair.
That's fair. Yeah, jack them up a little bit. I'll pay an extra $5 to $10 on a ticket.
No, I will pay $20 extra for unlimited food.
Correct. I will pay an extra. Now those stadiums, it might be crazy. The lines at those stadiums might be crazy, but and I'm sure they've got they'll probably have. Well, it's a college stadium. They can't sell alcohol. Oh, can they sell alcohol?
No, a lot of Fresno State has alcohol.
Yeah,
there's some college stadiums that don't sell it, just for what it's worth.
Fresno State goes back and forth.
Yeah, and I can see a Southern college in some places not selling alcohol. So
Utah doesn't sell alcohol, Phil.
Auburn does it. Auburn didn't sell alcohol when I went.
What's up, Jordan? That's an SEC school. All right, I will say
BYU the food no alcohol either.
Fresno State also goes back and forth. I don't know if they sell it at Boise State. Do they sell it at Boise State?
I don't know. Why are we having this conversation though?
Yeah, why?
I'm getting to the point here.
Do you want to just go through every college and we'll give you a yes or no, just shot from the hip, like yes or no, Phil? Is that what you're wanting to do?
Should we go with the Mountain West? Who do we think in the Mountain West? Probably. I'm just kidding. We're not doing that. So food prices. That is easily one of my least favorite things about sporting events. It's so costly. I'm paying exuberant amount of money to come to this game. I'm potentially even paying for parking, which is basically a God-given right. And you're going to make me pay for food. That's insane.
Parking is a God-given right.
I think so.
For food. Where do you get the math that parking is a God-given right? I don't think there's anything in the Declaration of Independence about parking, but I could be totally wrong.
Or in the Bible.
Or in the Bible. Thou shalt park.
I'm just saying, parking is basically a God-given right.
Thou
if you have a
shalt be
license.
served in all things.
But the food is just way too expensive. I think you got
screaming for socialism at this point.
I think you got to have some more affordable pricing on the foods. That's number one. Number two is one of the other things that I think is like I think that there needs to be I think that the temperature control can be done a lot better for indoor places. I was very impressed by the Dallas Cowboys Stadium. I wanted to hate on things. In there, but it was so nice to have an AC unit going on, and I felt the temperature. Go ahead, Trent.
How many indoor stadiums have you been into and just been like, wow, whoever's in charge of this thermostat needs to be fired? I'm just curious. Like where?
No. I'll take that, and I will wager against that and say, how many have you been in where you're like, man, I wish there was some AC in this joint? Like many a times. Have you've been in a stadium where it's been like, this is ridiculous. It is way too hot in here. You know what I'm saying? Like, Trent, you are a guy who keeps a very close eye on his thermometer in his home. Do you agree with that or disagree?
No, I have solar.
So you set your thermometer at the thing that you feel comfortable with, right?
I go as low as my AC can keep up with, which
all right,
is
fine.
77,
anyhow,
which isn't low enough.
Better temps.
No. This is what I'm saying. Outside of high school gyms, I don't know if I've been to an arena that I've been like, wow, it's way too hot in here. I feel like they all have good AC units. I could be wrong. I was wondering if you had like an example, like
NHL games. I think at times the NHL game. No, sometimes they're a little bit too warm depending on the population inside the place. Basketball games. Oftentimes those basketball games can get a little warm. Jordan, would you agree with me there?
What indoor basketball arena have you been to?
Staples.
Have you actually been to Staples Center?
To watch a hockey game.
That doesn't count then.
And it was hot?
It was mildly warm. All right, moving on. So temperature control is another one.
Mildly warm means it was like 75.
Hurry up. Just let him
take your sweater off.
I'm slightly overweight. Number 3, I think the other thing that I would say that I just absolutely hate is I think that the commercial breaks are obnoxious. They're so incredibly obnoxious. So I have to say, like, I understand the need for commercials, right? I obviously understand the need for commercials, but they've got to be shorter. We got to figure out a way so that they're not so long. Like we're just sitting in between commercial and commercial. Trent, I think you said it. Like there doesn't need to be commercial after the kickoff.
You are anti-capitalism, is what you're saying.
I think that there is room for commercials. It doesn't need to be every 30 seconds. Okay, that's number 3 thing.
So you hold on. We're not gonna let this go. So you complain about concession prices, but now you want to pay more for your TV bill because you want less commercials. Got it.
I'm saying I'd like to have it all. I want my cake and eat it too. That's what I'm saying. Like
My problem is I think the TV thing's going to go up no matter what, though, is my problem with it. Like, even if they, I think the TV prices go up and the commercials. No, but they do both.
Take away, well, it'll go real up if you take away the commercials.
Well, it's basically every 6 months it goes up now.
I don't know if you know how local TV works, but it's basically a God-given right. Okay, that's number 3. Number 4. I honestly hate.
We're gonna have you go last games. For now on.
I hate blackout games. I don't care if it's fair. Like I should be able to watch the Seahawks whenever I stinking want. That's the exact thing. If the Seahawks are playing the Panthers on the East Coast and I want to watch that game, let me watch that game. That's all I'm saying. I hate blackout games. I think they're dumb. I should be able to choose whatever thing I want to watch. Hear me out, Jordan. I will allow longer commercials to happen if I can watch the Seahawks whenever I want. That I think that's a happy medium.
Why can't you watch the Seahawks whenever you want?
Because I'm not willing to pay for an NFL Sunday ticket. So that's why. And so that's what I'm saying. On local TV, I should be able to watch.
You're never going to get wait.
You.
Blackouts
don't affect you because you don't watch it.
You don't live in the market. So like what?
No. Like no. Well, here's the thing. So there has been a game where it'd be like, and maybe it's not blackouts necessarily, but like the Seahawks will be playing the Niners, but the Rams are the game of the week, so I have to watch that game, even though normally I would be watching the Niners Seahawks.
It's not blackout. It's not blackout.
Okay, that fine. Maybe I use hate.
The owner of the TV station. The owner of the TV station doesn't like the Niners, and he would rather watch the Rams.
Hey, you are missing the point. I want to be able here. Let me make sure this is clear. I want to be able to choose to watch whatever game I want. Does that make it a little bit more clear?
It
doesn't have to be related to blackout.
Open up your wallet and pay for Sunday ticket. How about that?
Okay. Well,
Trent, will you split it with me?
Yeah.
Seth with the sing from left field. Seth,
shut up,
Seth.
Seth,
what do you have? What do you have?
No, Trent.
Besides Torpedo Bats.
I told Trent that I was willing to pay 3/4 of it, and the guy still wouldn't go in halves with me, or a quarter. Yeah. Okay, go, Seth. See if you're able to put a sentence longer than 3 words.
Bandwagon. I don't like bandwagoners. That one hurts. That's something about sports I don't like.
So you're on bandwagon.
When it's good, I don't like seeing new fans. It just bothers me. I'm not a big fan.
Okay.
I don't like being called a bandwagoner, especially when the Seahawks were good. Everyone's like, "Oh, what? You're a bandwagon?" It's like, no. I've been a Seahawks fan for life. That's being called a bandwagon hurts, especially when you're one. So I don't like bandwagoners because, now it's like, wow, now I see a ton of Dodgers stuff all the time, and it's like, how long were you a Dodgers fan for? Or now you're just buying it because they won a World Series, So don't like that one. What was the other one I had? Oh, I don't like dumb fines. Okay, like dumb fines, like, oh, you tackled the quarterback too hard. Dumb fine. Why would you find that? Or like, hey, an umpire made a bad call in a baseball. One of the players said something to him, and it's like, well, it was a bad call. You should make a better call. Okay, don't think the fines are dumb. I don't like flopping. I think that's pretty obvious. Like,
that's
probably
a good one, Seth.
Like soccer is probably the biggest one, right? But also happens in the NFL and the NBA quite often. I don't like the flops. I mean, soccer, I think, kind of comical at this point because you expect it all the time. But like basketball and football can be pretty bad. It's just pretty cringe, I think. I don't know. One thing, reacting if you get shoved. It's another thing if someone touches you and you just act like a baby. Just kind of cheap, in my opinion. What was the last one I had? Oh, I'm not the biggest fan of like any all-star games anymore. Like, I think they're all pretty pointless unless it's like a normal game. Like, I think baseball one's fine because it's a normal game, but Like, unless there's like some incentive or like
Four
a
Nations is the
normal
bar.
Yeah, like the football one, I understand guys not wanting to get hurt and stuff, but don't even put one on at that point because no one want. I think it's just pointless to watch. The NBA one is just kind of like, I don't know. Just can we just play basketball and everyone can try? Like, I don't know. Give the winning team a ton of money, and maybe they'll try hard. I don't know. Like, just I don't know. They probably won't try hard anyways because they're all making a ton of money. But I don't know. I think there can be better incentives for it. But
so mine here is I have Pro Bowl statistics. Whenever you get on there and they're like, oh,
that's
so and so, 8-time Pro Bowler. Like, I think that's dumb because the Pro Bowl means nothing now. The team that makes it to the Super Bowl, I don't know if those guys even qualify for the Pro Bowl anymore. So the whole stat of throwing out Pro Bowls is why a guy's good. Stupid argument. That's one of my Mount Rushmores of things I hate about sports. Then I have just the reffing in the NFL. I don't like the inconsistencies of how they call it one way in regular season and they call it how I like how they would call it in the playoffs. I just wish it was playoff type reffing all year long. Maybe that's because it's the better refs in the playoffs. I'm not sure. Rule changes. I hate how there has to be rule changes every single year. The NFL, I think, is fine. We don't need to add any more rules. We don't need to take away any more rules. Just leave it alone. Like I said, I want to get rid of the dynamic kickoff, but I've been saying this for the past 5 years. Don't add any more rules to the NFL. Just leave it alone. And look where we are now. We move the kickoff up. We move it up. And now we're doing this thing where it's like freeze tag till the guy catches the ball. Just stop messing with the game. It's a good game. You don't need to do anything stupid. Now you have this dynamic kickoff thing, and it's like, yeah, that was a bad idea. And then TV timeouts. I wouldn't hate them as much if the timeout, like the TV commercials were good, but they aren't good. And I just think it's too much. I would rather the timeouts be longer and not as many. You know what I'm saying? There's got to be a way you can do the same amount of timeouts for the same amount of time off
I'll
without
tell
going.
You how you fix the problem. You do.
Okay.
Tell us a wise
you
one.
Don't,
dual screen, commercial, and game playing at the same time.
Yeah, I do that, Jordan. But what do you do during a prime time?
No. He's saying like
on the
you play the commercial. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Broadcast. Like if you
that,
watch
no, that's
NASCAR,
great. That doesn't bother me at all.
They go 2-picture and it's like commercial.
Yeah,
and so it's like, hey, 30-second break. We'll be back in 30 seconds. And the commercial plays while you can still watch the game on the other.
Yeah, no, I think, and the NFL's got to at some point put branding on their jerseys, right? Like everyone else is doing it. So that's coming, but they'll probably do that and something else. But yeah, I do like it when they put the screen small like that. I just think it's gross to have, the 2-minute timeout after kickoff and the 2-minute timeout after extra point. Like just make it 1 4-minute timeout. So those are my 4. I feel like those are pretty good. I could have thrown flopping in there, but I thought, reffing, TV timeouts, rule changes, and what was the other one I had in there?
The first one?
I can't remember it right now off the top of my head. Pro Bowls.
Pro Bowls.
Yep.
Jordan, so far, I feel like my list and Seth's list are the best. Jordan, what is yours? Let's hear.
Seth, Phil, you took the longest. I don't think you remember what you said, but it was all money involved. Jordan, what do you have?
I'm going to go with fans who don't know what they're saying, just say stupid things just for the sake of yelling.
I almost did that one.
Like, just like some of the people that they just say the most obnoxious things.
Some of the people that go to these games are just really dumb.
Yes. Yeah. They don't,
and that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. Hey, some of those people might listen to this pod.
Yeah.
You
may be seeing some of those people when you look in the mirror.
I'm going to go reffing, but more specifically, arrogant refs who think they are God's gift to reffing. And you see that.
That's
the
all
professional world too. Like, no, but like, there's always those guys who like think that like that they are kind of just jerks. I'm going to go sports betting not being legal in all 50 states in this country.
That's a good one.
Literally all the leagues are sponsors now of all or sponsored by all these different places, and we don't have sports betting legal in all 50 states in this country. Makes no sense. And then number 4. Oh, what was I gonna say? I just had one. Now I can't remember
People
what I was
who
gonna
hate
say.
Patrick
Shoot.
Mahomes.
No. Shoot, what was I gonna say?
Raider fans.
No, I can't remember now.
Um,
Dang it. Shoot. Okay, let me think.
I
don't know.
can't believe you're stumped like this, Jordan. I feel like
literally I had it ready to go, and then I forgot what I was gonna say.
Trent Baalke.
Trent Baalke does suck.
I don't know, Jordan. Like,
Planter.
I had something I was gonna say, but now I can't remember.
injuries.
I don't know. Now I got
turf.
No, this is bad. This is
I can't believe you're having a senior moment like this, Jordan. This is so unlike you.
I'm having a senior moment.
I know you're gonna text us too, like, oh, it was this. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, Jordan, you can let us know next week.
I will let you know.
Probably going to jump a little bit more into the NFL draft here coming up. But, guys, we will see you next time. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, take care.